Hey, Vorail, what's going on? Happy Friday. At least it's Friday when I'm recording this. And whatever day or night it is, I hope you're having a great one. So, my question is about YouTube star Joy Ross. What do you think of Miss Ross? Have you watched her YouTube videos? So, for those who don't know, Joy Ross is a young lady. Well, I don't know how young she is. Probably in her 30s, I guess. I would say probably in 30s. Um, Maybe 20s. And she's blind and she's on YouTube and she does these videos about being blind and some other different stuff. I don't know. I'm all for advocating for, hey, it's great to show the abilities of blind people and, stuff that blind people can do. But some of her video, like apparently she's in Hawaii right now because she's done a bunch of videos from Hawaii recently. And one of her videos, I wish my white cane could reach the top of the palm tree so I could see it. Like, I don't know. Like some of her stuff is just a little bit like, I hear some stuff like that. I'm like, really? Come on. Like, and this is obviously, her most of her audience obviously is sighted. And this is how they kind of view blind people. Like, she's kind of the spokeswoman for blind people. And not totally, because, there's other blind people out there and there's other blind YouTubers and whatever. But some of the stuff that she does is just kind of cringeworthy. I mean, I think it's great that some of the stuff that she does, she's got a guide dog and some other different stuff. But some of it's just like, oh, like that's not really how blind people view the world, but okay. So anyway, what do you think of Joy Ross? Do you love her? Do you dislike her? What do you think of Joy Ross? Have you watched any of her stuff? Just really curious what people think.
Full thread about YouTuber Joy Ross. Your thoughts. 3 days ago. Jeopardy Jason October 31st commented. 3 days ago.
I never heard of her. I do follow Molly Burke, who's a blind YouTuber and very popular, has almost 2 million subscribers. I put videos about her showing how she swims as a blind girl and her demonstrating a smart cane. A lot of people don't like her. And they think she's a spokesperson for the blind too, and she'll say she's not, and she's not. She just says this is the way she does things, but she definitely doesn't speak for all blind people. But these are people just showing their way of doing things. They're just normal people like you and me, but have a YouTube channel. They may do different things differently than we do. So sighted people that think that's all blind people do things. If I met them, I'd say this is just this person's way of doing things. I don't do it that way, and just educate them, just like every sighted person on YouTube. It doesn't speak for all sighted people, but I mean, I get what you're saying, but you just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. This is just one person's way of living their life.
Tom BCOT69 commented. 3 days ago.
Who am I supposed to be more impressed with, her or that freaking Molly Burke or whatever her name is? I mean, honestly, I can't say I'm impressed with either one. And from some stories, from some things I've heard about Molly Burke, she doesn't exactly inspire me. And she wouldn't if I were sighted. Good.
Tom BCOT69 commented. 3 days ago.
Jason, you've never heard of Joy Ross? Really?
Jim Man of God, servant of Jesus Christ commented. 3 days ago.
What would be cool is if we could have someone out there who could really do a humor, some sort of stand-up comedy or a humorous skit about the things that people who are blind do, like this Joy Ross. And I bet it would go over well. There'd be a lot of things that we could laugh about concerning ourselves. On the other hand, anybody is allowed to be a spokesman. Nobody says that Joey Ross has to be the official representative of all of us who can't see. So, instead of complaining, start a YouTube channel.
Wendy commented 3 days ago.
Hey, I know Joy Ross. She was a Facebook friend of mine for quite a few years. And she's a very interesting woman, intelligent, and sounds like she's very pretty. And her two daughters are quite pretty too. And they all sing in the choir, and they got beautiful voices. And she posts many videos. I think she lives, on the West Coast. I can't remember if it's in California or Oregon or Washington, but that's where she is now with her husband and her two daughters. Very interesting videos of her going to the store, asking for help, how they treat her. When they go on holiday, she always records videos of their holidays, and just really interesting woman and wonderful family.
Thomas 1991 commented 3 days ago.
I don't like either YouTuber. I don't like Joy Ross or Molly Burke. I especially don't like Joy Ross because she was rude to an Uber driver one time who did not speak very good English, so fuck the both of them.
The Orange Circle commented 3 days ago.
I've never been really impressed by her YouTube videos. I think it's good that she's trying to be another voice in the sea of voices, but I've really never been impressed. I feel like she's been over-glorified and glamorized. And what makes her so different than the rest of us, other than she puts out YouTube videos? I mean, I don't know. She's no different than me. She's no different than any of us. We're all just living our lives, doing our thing. We're just not blasting it on YouTube. But, I mean, YouTube is where it's at, and TikTok, so, I mean, hey, whatever.
Rick C. commented 3 days ago.
I've never heard of this lady. But I'm not gonna go check her out. Reach the top of the tree with her. You know what? All you do is hit wood. That is just a. I wouldn't know where I'd even begin to. I don't know where to laugh. And maybe she's an airhead. I don't know where to laugh or cry. But you're right. There are, a sighted person will know a blind person and judge all of us because there was a guy in Bellevue named Lou, and people would be like, well, why can't you do X, Y, and Z? Lou can do it. I'm like, dude, we're all different. Because Lou could hear a voice one time and remember it. Nice enough guy, wasn't all that bright from what I talked to him, but, nice enough. But, as you know, and I know, blind people are all different. There are people out there who have, the most amazing hearing. And, sighted people don't want to believe me that I've lost a lot of my higher frequencies. They're like, but you're blind. I'm like, dude. When you have tubes break through your eardrums and then an asshole shoot off M80s right next to your bed, it's gonna do damage to your hearing. So, whatever. People want to believe what they want. People want to believe what they want to believe. There was a show on ACB many moons ago out of England called Blind Kiss, and I really liked it because they took a very irreverent attitude towards blindness. And I hate to say this, but there are some blind people out there, just like sighted people, who take themselves way too damn seriously. Laugh. Enjoy life.
Rip T commented 3 days ago.
I never heard of Joy Ross, but I'm I'm gonna check her out because I mean that's really weird to put your cane in a tree and say, you know, it's great to see the top of this tree. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna check it out and see. What is she supposed to be like a big advocate for blind people, or because that's a little crazy. All right, I'm gonna check her out. Thanks.
Apple Crisp commented 2 days ago.
So, I don't know Joy personally, but I've been friends with her on Facebook for probably, I'd have to go look, maybe 6 years or so. I'd have to check the time frame on that. I'm not sure what dynamics have happened over the past year in her life, though. I haven't figured that out. I haven't followed her a lot over the last year. I did follow her Hawaii trip. She just went swimming in the ocean. She posted it about being in a yellow bikini, and she's a very pretty lady. She's not in her 20s or her 30s. I think she's in her mid-40s, early to mid-40s, because her daughters are upper high school, mid to upper high school level. I think Georgiana just started high school a year or two ago, something like that. As Wendy shared, yeah, her daughters sing, she sings, her mom sings. I was watching her pretty close a couple years ago when she had to put her guide dog Antonia down. That was really, really sad. I watched her a lot prior to Antonio being put down, when she would do her store travels, like to Target and different things, how well they traveled into the malls and the different stores, and they worked really well together. And then, as quick as I was going to think of her new dog, Antonia was like a yellow or golden lab, and her new dog is a black lab. And I know the dog's name, and it just escaped my brain. So I've been following her for a long time. I think she has a lot of great, interesting stuff. I'm a little confused by why she's kind of presenting such a very, I don't know how to put it, like showing her body off more now. She has been very... she talks about being very physical fit and posting in these bikinis. And, I guess if you've got to flaunt it. And she is a beautiful woman. She's very beautiful. Very pretty, very well in shape, very thin, very pretty. And I give her a lot of credit for her travels and being as out there as she is. I don't know this other person that you guys talk about, Molly Burke. Excuse me. I know Tom has spoken about her some, and I've heard the name. I've not looked her up or followed any of her stuff or looked it up to see what she does or doesn't do. But, Joy has put some good stuff out. I think I respect that she has shown people to not be afraid to put one foot in front of the other and go out there and challenge herself and challenge themselves not to be afraid. Trying to set good examples. Do I agree with everything? Maybe not. Like I said, I'm not too sure. I like that she's presenting such a sexuality of herself right now, especially on this trip lately, but I can't tell the woman what to do. I think she's a very nice woman. I don't know her personally. I've never had any. I've chatted back and forth with her a little bit on Facebook, but I've never had a private conversation or in person. So it's not my place to judge her. And I know somebody will say, but you just did because you were talking about the way she looks and blah, blah. It's not I'm not trashing her. I'm just saying I don't necessarily agree with it. And I'm entitled to that because, we all feel the way we feel. I'm just saying I don't have to agree with everything she does, but I have respect for the fact that she's not been afraid with being totally blind to kind of get out there and show the world that just because she's blind doesn't mean she's not going to challenge herself and the world to know who she is and know that blind people can do things. Food for thought.
Mickey commented 2 days ago.
You know, anybody who is willing to put themselves out there on YouTube or whatever, and they have a message that they think people want to hear, I applaud them. Now, I don't necessarily, there's some YouTube videos I'll watch, I'll be kind of cringy a little bit, and the cane demonstration that you put on Jason, that when she did the white cane, I think it was her, I was kind of cringy a little bit, but because I have seen the We Walk, and frankly, it's got a lot to be desired. But having said that, I mean, I applaud anybody who puts themselves out there and has a message that they think people want to hear. I can do that more. I'm just not one to publicize myself much anyway. Whether I could be out there, whatever, using my smoker or do whatever, as a blind person, or do whatever. I don't know, and I don't generally do that, but yeah, she's got a message that she thinks people want to hear, and she's got uses technique, and we're doing a fundraiser event for our organization in November. We're going to be featuring a blind skateboarder now. I don't know how in the heck, I'm going to have to look on YouTube and see if I can find him. I don't know how in the heck that works, but you know what? I mean, these people, I applaud that. So, hey, I would definitely check it out or try to find it.
Wendy commented 2 days ago.
Hey, Apple Crisp. I haven't been her friend for about 3 years now. Maybe, yeah. I didn't know that she had to put her dog down. Wow, she was just, her and her dog went everywhere together, and she loved that dog. So, I should look her up and add her back as a friend, because she really posted some neat stuff. And yes, she is kind of a, it's a Georgia Peach type of girl, right? She's kind of, well, really friendly, but almost a show-off, as I would like to say. But I guess if you got it, you flaunt it. But I remember she did a makeup post once, how to put makeup on with being blind, and I found that fascinating. But then, she's got a husband there and 2 girls that can help her with that too, like look and see if she did it right. So, yeah. So she does have a sighted husband that probably does help her quite a bit.
Cindy B commented 2 days ago.
It's actually a lot to unpack here. So when I used to be on Facebook, I would see her posts pop up in different blind groups, people sharing her posts and stuff. And I never watched her videos, so I don't know much about her. But here's the thing, and I can see why the blind community is kind of torn on individuals like her and Molly Burke, because in reality, nobody is wondering how a blind person makes a stew or how a blind person puts makeup on. Nobody really wonders that unless they come across someone and it piques an interest. Okay, I think where these individuals are most influential is when someone is newly blind, because you can watch these videos, a woman can watch these videos or listen to these videos as a newly blind individual and say, you know what, it's possible. I can live a productive life. I can live a happy life, right? And that is something that newly blind individuals have a hard time with. Will life ever be the same? Will I ever get to do what I used to enjoy? Those are major, major worries that somebody who's newly blind goes through. Will I be able to do anything at all, So they may say that they're out to educate, but for me, that's not where they're most influential. And that's why being in the blind community for as long as many of us have been, they are cringy at times. because they don't do it the same way we do. They don't have the same cane technique. They don't use the same cane. They get too much help. Like, there's just so many things that we can nitpick as blind individuals to another blind individual. I mean, we can nitpick the crap out of them. Why? Because that is the nature of the situation. We have worked really hard, all of us, to be able to do and have what we have, right? So they're not any different from us. They just were able to find a following, and so, yeah, that's really my thoughts on it. Take it or leave it, I guess.
Bree commented 2 days ago.
Her and Molly Burke, I have kind of issues with both of them. And I know someone's probably going to call me out on that. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know.
Jeopardy Jason October 31st commented 2 days ago.
I would say to be able to go on a YouTube channel, be a creator, get a following of almost 2 million people like Molly Burke has. Like I said, I don't know who Joy Ross is. But that's a talent. That's a talent for anyone blind or sighted, to be able to be a YouTube influencer, to be able to make a living off YouTube. And there's plenty of sighted people that make a living off YouTube too. But to be able to do that is a skill, a talent. Not a lot of people have blind or sighted, so I give them credit for that.
Jean commented yesterday.
Well, I know I'm kind of late to this one. I heard the original post yesterday, but just didn't take the time to deal with it because I never heard of this Joy Ross person, and I wanted to go and see some of her videos. And I didn't get all the way through any of them. Maybe it's just my mood. I'm not in a real good mood right now because I had a very wasted day because I got up so late and whiled away my morning. And so maybe it's just my mood, but I was not impressed. Who cares about a blind woman walking in the ocean? It just doesn't set well with me, and I didn't like her manner either. I almost like Molly Burke better, and I've seen very little of her as well. But I would spend my time listening to Oliver the Beagle videos before I would spend time listening to them.
Lucy commented yesterday.
Okay, so I will just give my opinion about this, and I'm not particularly fond of her or Molly Burke, but I kind of have changed my position on this. Now, years ago, I probably would have said, you're making us all look bad and things like that. And to be honest, I don't think any of it really matters, because somebody could see you doing something and then turn around and tell you couldn't do something as they're watching you do it. It's happened to me many a times. And I think another thing is we are all coming into blindness in different ways, which is different than other groups, right? So, like, say, for example, you're born as Latino. Well, that's from birth. You can't change that. I mean, not yet anyway. But, you know what I mean? But blindness happens at different points, and it's not even the same. You have people that are totally blind, you have some that are, visually impaired, you have some that are high partials, and, whatever. So I think it's hard to say that there's one way to be blind, and really, I think that it would just be so difficult, because even the best of us, even those who have had extensive training, many have been blind your whole life, I'm sure even then, people get turned around and get lost, or, there would be moments where you wouldn't want to be captured, because, you're not making blind people look good because you're getting lost or you're not able to do something that you should be able to do. And there's definitely not another reason. If you're blind, it's not because, like, say for example, you're stressed out about going to a doctor's appointment and you go with somebody. They're gonna look at it as, oh, you can't go on your own, instead of, oh, I just need somebody here for, like, companion like other people do. But they're gonna look at it as, oh, you can't go there by yourself because you're blind, kind of thing. Like, no matter what you do, I think people are just going to find something wrong with it. And I don't believe that there's one way to be blind. And I understand in TV and things like that, we should try to portray the best we can. But to be honest with you, there are people out there like that. There are people out there who, live with their parents that don't do anything. I knew a girl actually in high school, and it's sad. She's in her mid-40s now, and she hasn't done anything. Her mom held her back. She was super sheltered. But part of it was her, too. She didn't want to do anything. She used to say independence just wasn't for everybody. And then independence as a term is very subjective. So I guess at the end of the day, we are not all like one another. I mean, look at this app. We have people that are just totally different from one another, think differently than each other. Some people are, like, super independent. Some people aren't. Some people have trouble with mobility. Some people don't. Some people read Braille. Some people don't. We can't agree on a lot of things. I mean, even like the handicap sticker thing for parking. Some people think that blindness means that you rate that. Other people don't. Other people think that, that's not for blind people. So I don't know what this long, lengthy post, but I'm just saying there's not one way to be blind. We're all coming into this at different points. Somebody who just became blind is going to do things much different than somebody who's been blind since birth. And that person that's been blind since birth is probably going to be different depending on what kind of training they've received and who their parents were probably. And, if you had sight at some point, how and when you lost it, how much sight you have, because I always get the people that tell me, like, oh, I don't have any trouble with this, and you should be able to do it. And then they say that they do it in some sighted way, like, oh, I just crank up zoom text to 16x. Well, how is a totally blind person going to be able to do that? They can't. So I don't know. I mean, we're all coming into it at different points. Some of us have multiple disabilities. Some of us have, just blindness as a disability. Some people have hearing problems in addition to blindness. And, I don't know that I particularly like this lady, but, maybe people are walking away from this saying, well, these blind people are capable of doing more than I thought they could, even though she's got a weird approach. I mean, just like Molly Burke. Now, one thing I did like about Molly Burke was one of her videos. She actually said, now I've only watched a few of them, but she said, this is the way I do it, but this isn't the way that all blind people do it. So she gave that distinction, which I appreciated, because I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to live up to each other's expectations or, societal, or, even, when you have, very successful people that are blind, people are still going to look at them as they're blind, and they're not going to be able to do anything. And at the end of the day, because they have sight, they can do more. So I don't know. I guess my position has changed, because I would have been like years ago, like, they're just making it all look bad. But honestly, there's a wide diversity of blind people. Some of us are more independent. Some of us are least, independent. And we do things in a different way. And I mean, hell, get in a debate with people over Mac versus JAWS, or, VoiceOver versus JAWS, or iPhone versus Android, or cane versus dog. I mean, we can't even talk on those issues. But regardless of who we have on YouTube, I think there's still going to be people that are going to doubt.
Nikki83 commented, yesterday.
I'm personally not a fan of Joy Ross or Molly Burke's content. A lot of people like them though, and I can see the value in that, I suppose, but yeah, I personally am not a fan.